Assuming you are floating freely in space, will the gun work just as it is on Earth? Will the bullet continue to move for many thousands of years? Well, ensure to subscribe to this channel, watch till the end of this video and I will show you exactly what would happen if you shot a gun in space. Now, if you shot a gun while orbiting a planet, the bullet might circle back around and hit you in the back. How crazy is that? Given how cool it sounds, well, not literally, since there's no sound in space to shoot a gun in space. It's a wonder there aren't more movies featuring space cowboy cops with real guns instead of laser pistols. Such films could even have some basis in fact, because shooting a gun in space would certainly work, though not quite like it is on Earth. In addition to there being no sound in space, there is also no oxygen, which is required to create and sustain any kind of fire. Modern guns, however, have their own internal oxidizers, chemicals that ignite the gunpowder and fire the bullet. This internal process allows a gun to fire no matter where you are when you pull the trigger. The only difference between pulling the trigger on Earth and in space is the shape of the resulting smoke trail. In space, fires can't burn in the oxygen-free vacuum, but guns can shoot. Modern ammunition contains its own oxidizer, a chemical that will trigger the explosion of gunpowder, and thus the firing of a bullet, wherever you are in the universe. No atmospheric oxygen required. But here's where it gets interesting and film-worthy. Perhaps you've heard of Newton's third law, which says that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. What this means is that if you were floating in space and fired a gun, the recoil of the gun, which is that force that pushes against your shoulder on Earth, but which your feet and gravity help to stop, would push you backward, though you wouldn't really feel it. You'd only notice that while the bullet was moving in one direction, you'd be moving away from it in the opposite direction. And what about that bullet? Bullets shot in space wouldn't really travel any faster than they would on Earth, though they could travel farther. On Earth, gravity eventually pulls the bullet down, even if it doesn't hit anything or anyone. In space, where there is no gravity, your bullet could keep moving forever as long as it doesn't hit something like an asteroid or a planet. The bullet would continue to travel in a straight line at muzzle velocity until they encounter a force that would change this. Of course, if your aim is really good or if you're really unlucky, you could end up shooting yourself. How? If you're in orbit around a planet, meaning you're being held by a weak gravitational field and you shoot straight ahead, the bullet will stay in orbit, come around the planet and shoot you in the back. Firing a gun in space isn't all that far-fetched, as Russian cosmonauts are sent into space with a gun in case it is needed for survival after landing on Earth in a treacherous region. If you were standing on the moon and had a gun that fired a projectile at 1,600 meters per second, you could, in theory, shoot yourself in the back on a very little amount of time. All you would need to do is fire at the horizon, and the bullet would travel around the moon, back to where it was originally fired. Hopefully, what you have learned here is that you should be really careful if you ever find yourself in space with a gun. The physics behind it are surprisingly simple, but the effects of firing that bullet could get you shot in the back. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more informative videos. Check out the description of this video. See you soon.